The first place where salespeople get stuck is when they make the story about themselves or about their product, because it really doesn't matter to your client. I was talking to a friend who wanted me to do some work for him about a year and a half ago, and I was booked up, didn't have any openings, and he said, well, we got a half an hour scheduled for the call. Where would you start? And I said, well, I'd probably start with your website. He said, okay, tell me about our website. I said, it sucks. There was a long pause, and he said, can you tell me what part of it? And I said, nope. He said, well, how can you tell me it sucks if you can't tell me what part it is? Because I've never looked at your website, but I can tell you what's on it. And I proceeded to list off for him all the things that were on it. He said, on the first page of your website, there's probably some really pretty image that is incomprehensible to anybody, doesn't speak to what you do. You talk about your firm, you talk about your employees, you talk about the products you sell, you talk about how the products that you sell work, you talk about how long you've been in business. And he said, well, we're really proud of all that stuff. I said, and you should be, but it doesn't belong on your website because nobody cares about that crap except you. If that's really important to you, build a corporate brochure, send it to your prospect a week before your meeting with a note that says, want to make sure we make next week's meeting all about you, but thought you'd like to learn a little bit about us. How many of us, David, have seen these gorgeous websites where you look at it and your eye is immediately caught and you go, gee, I wonder what the hell they do. And that's where people get stuck, is they make the story about themselves and not about their prospect's problem.
Yeah, and I think that even when they get into the problem, or they think they're getting into the problem, they start talking about their services.
Right. And no one cares about that. It's the old saw about, if someone asks you what time it is, don't tell them how to build a watch, because they don't care. They just want to know what time it is.
Yeah.
And the story brand discipline is really ancient storytelling theory. It's been around for years and years and years. I mean, look, we were telling stories 38,000 years ago by making pictures on caves in France. And nothing's changed. I mean, one might argue that we have emojis now and we've come full circle. We just do it electronically. But the story brand outline starts with who is the main character in the story, and that's always the client. And we talk about, okay, well, what are the client's needs? And the second place where most people get stuck is that they think that their client's need is about a product, and it almost never is. So where we take clients is we say, okay, you have a main character who's got a need, but it's 3 parts, and they're increasing depths of psychological complexity. External, what they tell their golfing buddies. Internal, what they might say to themselves. And then philosophical, the broader picture. Like, it just shouldn't be so hard to do X, Y, Z, whatever their problem is. And the reason that we do that is because decisions that human beings make are not made with the prefrontal cortex. We think they are. That's the reasoning part of our brains. Decisions are all made emotionally. They're made in the amygdala. That's where that old fight or flight piece of our brain, some people call it the lizard brain, that's still there. And then we have gotten really adept at rationalizing those decisions with our prefrontal cortex. So the second mistake is that when somebody's looking to solve a problem for a client, they look at step 1 and they solve for step 1. And that doesn't ever work because it doesn't tell you the whole story about what the client really wants to achieve. And it doesn't give you the insight to strike that psychological chord, that emotional chord with the client. The third mistake that they make is they go in like they're the main character, and they're not. They're the guide. So think you should be Yoda, not Luke Skywalker. And from there, it's a lot easier. But those are the 3 places where most folks who are trying to construct a marketing message that resonates, that's clear, that's concise, that doesn't confuse clients and prospects, that's where they stumble.